much, Mr. Chairman. Today, I'm moving a technical amendment to this legislation, which I asked be accepted as friendly without objection. And then I will speak to the bill itself, Mr. Chairman. This amendment, which I'm moving now, requires the provider to notify the insurer that the immunization has been provided under the authority of the Minority Consent for Vaccinations Amendment Act of 2020. So the insurer will know that they should not send an explanation of benefits for the vaccination to the minor's house. This protects the minor from any retaliation at home that could occur from getting vaccinated. Without this amendment, the insurer would not be on notice that they needed to refrain from sending the explanation of benefits. I ask that the amendment be accepted as friendly without objection, Mr. Chairman. This bill, which was introduced by Councilmember Mary Cheh, permits a minor age 11 or older who can meet the standard of informed consent to receive a vaccine recommended by the United States Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. One lesson that COVID-19 has taught us is that policymakers need to make science-driven decisions about public health policy, and the United States has seen the negative consequences that occur when the public health experts are ignored. This committee worked closely with doctors at the Department of Health, the Medical Society of the District of Columbia, and the DC chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics on this legislation. And I want to thank them for their expert contributions. If there were more time, I'd name each one of them, but our time is short, of course. I want to speak specifically about the issue of the 11-year-old age threshold because we've received a number of questions about why this was selected. This legislation treats vaccinations in a manner consistent with other medical authority. We provided minors in DC, including access to abortions, birth control, and substance use treatment services, Mr. Chairman, which all currently have no age limit at all, but are left to the physician to determine if the minor has the maturity to have informed consent. The physician community and the Department of Health both felt we don't need to include the age minimum for this bill, but said it was not harmful if we did. From an abundance of caution, we selected age 11 because that is on the late end of when children should receive the first Gardasil vaccination to prevent HPV and cervical cancer. Additionally, the first of 2 meningitis vaccinations is recommended at age 11, with the goal of receiving the second booster before college when the risk of meningitis is highest at that point, Mr. Chairman. I want to be clear that only some children will be able to demonstrate informed consent at age 11, while others will not be that mature at that point. Our goal with this legislation is to give informed minors the ability to protect their long-term health. I urge my colleagues to support the bill that provides access to vaccines, which are one of the lowest risk, most effective means of protecting both the individual and the public at large from serious communicable diseases. That having been said, Mr. Chairman, I move the bill as amended and ask for my colleagues' support. I do want to add, Mr. Chairman, that we did have an excellent conversation. We followed up soon after the first vote on the bill with Councilmember Trayon White, who had a number of questions. We brought together the representative from the Medical Society and also another physician who as well was actually the personal physician for Councilmember Trayon White as his pediatrician. And I thought we had a good discussion. He indicated at the end he had no further questions of us, and we did the best we could to provide additional information for him, Mr. Chairman. So again, I move the bill and urge the support of our colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. We have the amendment before us. I can treat the amendment as a without objection. I want to dispose of the amendment first. So I'll ask if there's discussion on the amendment. If I'm not hearing any, if there's no objection, the amendment will be accepted. The amendment is accepted. Mr. White, on the bill as amended.
Yes, thank you, Chairman, and also Councilmember Gray. As stated in the legislative meeting, I cannot, with a good conscience, support the Minor Consent for Vaccinations Amendment Act of 2019. For me, permitting a minor to receiving a vaccine presents a danger to children and disregards a parent's authority to make healthcare decisions in the best interest of their child. In my household, I have four kids. 2 are 12 and 13. Will be in this particular bill. And I can't imagine them making healthcare decisions about their lives based on the decisions they make each and every day. I have received an outpouring of support in my dissent for this bill, but nonetheless, people in general are questioning the council's authority to use what is seemed to be dictatorship of powers to take away parental consent through the law. Minors are prevented from getting tattoos, piercings in the district, yet this legislation supports that they can consider the risks and benefits of certain vaccines, taking into account their personal and family medical history, or fully comprehend that they have a choice under the authority of an adult, suggesting that they grant permission to be vaccinated. Councilmember Gray did host a meeting with myself, the Medical Society, other medical professionals, in which I did ask questions, and I believe they did answer the questions. But I do not believe that based on this perspective, it convinced me enough to support a bill like this. I believe this is a mistake to seize authority and the legal rights from parents to provide guidance and care for their children's vaccinations, especially when the right involves making a critical decision about their health. And in further analyzing this legislation, it took away the liability from those who gives authority to give the vaccination for the child in a case that it has adverse effect on the child's health. And so the parent is only not included in the decision-making process, but also held liable and responsible for the caretaker of a kid who may get sick or may die as a result of the vaccination if anything goes wrong. And so I'm greatly concerned amongst the general public that we have not come to a consensus about this bill. So today I'll be voting no on this particular measure for the safety of our children and for the safety of our parents. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Is there any further discussion on the bill? Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please? This is on the bill as amended.
Councilmember Gray.
Yes.
Councilmember Gray votes yes. Councilmember Grasso.
Yes.
Councilmember Grasso votes yes. Councilmember McDuffie.
You can record me as no, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember McDuffie votes no. Chairman Mendelson.
Yes.
Chairman Mendelson votes yes. Councilmember Nadeau. Yes. Councilmember Nadeau votes yes. Councilmember Pinto.
Yes.
Councilmember Pinto votes yes. Councilmember Silverman.
Yes.
Councilmember Silverman votes yes. Councilmember Todd.
Yes.
Councilmember Todd votes yes. Councilmember Robert White.
No.
Councilmember Robert White votes no. Councilmember Trayon White.
No.
Councilmember Trayon White votes no. Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
Councilmember Allen votes yes. Councilmember Bonds.
Yes.
Councilmember Bonds votes yes. Councilmember Che.
Yes.
Councilmember Che votes yes. Mr. Chairman, there are 10 yeses and 3 nos.
The bill is approved.